All right, now we're going to animate our camera, and we're going to do a different way of animating the camera than we did in the first animation. We're actually going to animate along a curve, super cool. First thing I'm going to do is add in a camera because it seems mine got deleted. So shift to add in the camera. If you already have your camera, that is fine. Then I'm going to go ahead and hit Control-Alt-0 on the numpad in that view to snap the camera to here. And then I'm going to hit middle mouse click to zoom in a little bit and position it about there. All right, sweet. Next, I'm going to hit Shift S cursor to selected, and we're going to hit Shift to add in a curve Bezier curve. Now the last one we added was a path. Bezier curve is very similar, as you could see. It has segments or handles, and it also has arrows dictating which direction the curve is going in. And right now it's going in the wrong direction. So we're going to hit 7 go in the top of view, or 180, and rotate 180 degrees. Now all we need to do is select the first handle right here. And we're going to be extruding this out around Arsena so that the camera follows along that path. So I'm going to hit G to grab it, R to rotate, and see I'm going to scale it up a little bit. Now I'm going to hit extrude, it to rotate, and S scale it up a little bit more. And then one more time, I'm basically going to make a semicircle, kind of like that, or a loop like that. Now you could make your camera go as crazy as you want. You can make it go all over the place. But for this, I'm just going to make it like this, and then it's going to end right here. I'm also going to scale this one up, so that's not so sharp. All right, now all we have to do, check it out, guys. Select the camera shifts, like the curve Control P, and we're going to set the parents to follow path. And now if we had 0 in the number, had to go into real spacebar to play it. Whoa, it's just completely crazy, and I have no idea what's happening. This kind of reminds me of that movie, A Bug's Life. Kind of want to watch that now. It was a cool movie anyways, so yeah, the camera's not doing what it should be doing. And that's because right now, if we go to our curve settings, under the curve options right here, and under path animation, you can see that follow is selected. Now, follow basically means that the camera is going to rotate with the path, and we don't want it to rotate with the path because we're going to be animating our camera separately. So on the curve, once again, there we go, deselect follow, and now the camera goes all crazy, which is not good. So what we need to do is rotate it. So that's facing the right way. We're going to hit R and then Z twice, and this will rotate it along the normal, and go ahead and rotate it like this. Now what in the world is the normal? Sounds like paranormal activity, which is a lot what's been going on in this scene with this caterpillar. So the normal of an object you can see right here. If I have my move manipulator enabled, which I do now, right now we're on the global axis. So the z-axis is pointing that way, y and x. However, if we go to normal, you can see the normal z-axis is pointing that way, normal x and normal y, and now the normal is basically the perpendicular axis to the object. You'll see if we rotate this arbitrarily. The Z normal is now facing a different direction, but it's always perpendicular to the camera, and so are the other ones. So if we hit R and Z, it will move it along. Well, let's put this back to the global first. If we hit R and Z, it will rotate it along the global axis. But if we hit Z a second time, it will then rotate along the normal Z axis. Pretty cool. All right, I'm going to go back into select mode. And now if we had 0 to go into camera view, let's first hit our X twice. So I'm going to hit R, X, X, and again, you'll see what that does. If I hit our X, it rotates it like that. But if I X a second time, it rotates it along the normal X axis of the camera, which is what we want. I'm going to RX twice. I rotate it down and position this camera HZ and position it how I want it. And now if I hit play, you will see that it works a lot better because it's not rotating with the path. However, it's going way too fast. So I'm going to select the path, the Bezier curve right here, and I'm going to increase the amount of frames to, let's say, 250, which is the amount of frames, or actually I'm going to make a little less. Let's try 200 now if I had 0 on the numpad to go into counter view, and play that. Check it out. It looks pretty cool and maybe too dangerous, too fast. So let's go ahead and put it to 250 as well, since our caterpillar animation's 250 boom. Now what we want to do is go ahead and animates the camera independently. So what the curve did is it created the overall arc or the overall animation for the camera. But now we would need to animate the camera independently. Let's select the camera, go to Passepartout, and increase the capacity so that we don't see anything else in the scene. Now, I'm going to go ahead and hit play and right about here. Well, first, let's insert a keyframe all the way at the beginning. So on frame 1, hit eye location, rotation, scale, go ahead. And by the way, your keyframes and your positions of the camera do not have to be the same as mine. I'm just showing you the technique. You could go ahead and do it completely different and have different camera angles is totally fine. You do not have to be on the same frame as me or whatnot. I'm just showing you the technique and the principle. So right here on frame 36, I'm going to hit our X twice to rotate it down and hit eye location rotation scale so that the camera kind of goes down and we could see him going through the hole. Now over here, probably on frame 70 or so, I'm going to hit GG middle mouse click to zoom out Z, rotate it to that hole, and then our X twice and bring it up and then just zoom it out a little bit as well to about here and then hit eye location, rotation scale. And so now when I play that, it goes like that. He goes into that hole there, and then we see him go into this hole. We see him go out of that hole. We see him go there. Okay, so all those camera angles are good. You may have to add in some additional keyframes here, depending, because your path is not going to be the exact same path as mine. So you might have to add in some additional rotation to your camera here and rotate on the Z-axis and whatnot so that it follows along nicely. But this looks nice so far here. We can see you could see when it goes far here, we could see the alpha grid behind here. So we don't want that. I'm going to hit our X twice and rotate it down so that we cannot see that and hit eye location rotation scale. So now we got that right there. Boom. And then let's go on to the next hole, which the next hole right around this keyframe. I'm just going to hit our Z and rotate it. He already came out of the hole. So I'm going to go back here as Z, right around there, and hit G and bring the camera down as well, so that we cannot see the alpha image in the back or the background. And now let's go ahead. By the way, if you want your camera angle to be more high or higher up, and you want to be able to have different camera angles, you could add in or modify your ground plan here. For example, you can hit Tab to go into edit mode with proportional editing on. You could grab some of these and hit GZ and just grab these and bring them up so that it's covering the background, and you could have your camera higher up, and you could add like more hills or mountains so that this is not a problem. But for now, for this animation, I'm just going to leave it as it is. All right, let's select the camera back again and see what we got here. So it goes like that there, which is perfect right around here. I'm going to hit it actually a little further. I'm going to hit RZ actually right around here as Z rotated, hit G to bring it down, and G middle mouse click to zoom it out a little bit, and again bring it down so that we can't see the alpha background right there. So maybe something like that hitty location rotation scale sweat. This is so awesome to do now for this last one. I believe it's the last hole. Yep, this is the last hole right here. So for this one, I'm just going to go ahead to this frame around here, and I'm just going to hit middle mouse button and really zoom this out quite a bit, G to grab it, and just bring it down like that, a Z to rotate it, and then just bring it over quite a bit like that, and then down a little bit like there, and then hit eye location rotation scale, and let's see what that gives us. So he goes like that, and then you could see it right there. Boom. Now on frame 250, let's zoom it back. in because it's still going along the curve right there. So we want to zoom it like something like that and hit eye location, rotation, scale. Let's see what we got there. Boom. And maybe here on frame 20. Let's position it a little bit closer to that hole. We're going to hit our Z and position it a little bit closer to this hole that he comes out of. So that's more focused on there. And then right around here, I'm going to add another keyframe because we could see the background right there. So I'm just going to add another keyframe right here like that. Oh, check it out. All right, let's see it from the beginning. Do, 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 do. This is so cool. Sweet. All right, so that is pretty much it. Let me see for this last frame right here. What I want to try to do, actually, I'm going to try to delete these two key frames right here. X delete. And I'm just going to have that last key frame right here because it was a little bit too much movement. So I want to add a little bit smoother. And let's see when he comes out of the hole. I want this. And I'm going to bring it up, and let's bring it to the side so that we could see him coming out of the hole, our there. And there we go. Position it so you could see him coming out of the hole in that frame. And I'm going to delete that other key that I had by accident. And let's leave it there, see what that looks like. And then right here, I just wanted to kind of stay in the same position I had shivved. And bring it to frame 250, and so that here it just stays in the same position, sort of. However, on frame 250, I'm going to zoom it in a little bit as we could see all of the grid floor. And hit eye location rotation scale, so let's see what that gives us. There we go. It's a lot smoother and nicer. Now, one last thing right here. I'm just going to add a second keyframe. Very subtle to not show the background. Eye location, rotation scale, and there we go. It's a little bit smoother because before it was a little bit too fast for my liking. And again, you could adjust the camera angles however you want. You can make it crazier. You can make it more zoomed out. You can make the path a lot shorter. You don't have to make it following along through every hole. Heck, you could even not animate your camera and just have it, from above and just not even moving. And just you see the whole scene all at once. But that looks really awesome. One thing you will notice when we play this, it's only playing at 10 frames per second or so. So let's go to solid view to see the actual speed of this. And you can see it's pretty fast, which is pretty fun. And boom, there we go. So this is the speed of our animation. So that's pretty much it. We now have animated the camera movement with our little guy. Now the last thing I'm going to do before I go the next tutorial, you could do this on your own too as well. But I'm just going to go ahead and tweak some of the curve. You can see that right here. His head is hitting the floor a little bit on some other parts. He's kind of hovering above the floor and, like right here, he's hovering above the floor. I kind of like that because it looks like he's jumping into the holes more. But I might adjust the curve a little bit, go along the whole animation, adjust the curve just a little bit so that he conforms more to the floor in some places. But with that, let's go ahead and save this file. Save as I'm going to save it as animation 6. And there we go. How cool is that? We have now animated the camera and our little guy in the next part. We're probably going to wrap this up and render this out and see our final animation. But super cool. There's AD, and I'll see you in the next one. Go ahead and adjust your curve if you need to adjust the camera angles, etc. And I'll see you in the next one. Ciao for now, Alva.